Hey everybody, this is Cody, and let's go do some. All right, we're back. Got the parts. I got you set up on a new camera angle here so everybody can see what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and replace all of these gaskets out next before we start installing. Do want to let y'all know something that I found out on there. I ended up getting this gasket off Amazon for $37. The gasket said if I would have went to the part store, I went to the part store to get it to begin with, it was about 250 to 260 bucks for it at the part store when Amazon has it for $37. So I know we had to wait a little longer, but it was kind of hard for me to justify paying that much more for nothing more. So let's get started here. First, I'm going to take my pick. I'm going to kind of work up around the edges here. Kind of start popping this gasket out from around the seal here. Let's see if I can get it worked out. All right. So, as you can see here, it's got a lip on these. These are not your typical gaskets that you just glue onto the top. These have a lip that go down inside of a track here, so not very difficult. Comes up pretty easy once you get it started. Worst part's getting it started coming up. This exterior gasket doesn't feel too terribly bad, but I can actually see, you can see it right here. There's a war spot there, here. You can kind of see where it's flat and wore down right there. That spot that will potentially leak once you get it in there and get it started. These are plastic valve cover gaskets, so you can't crank on them too hard whenever you get in there, and you can't whenever you're locking them down. Your torque specs aren't too much, so your torque specs aren't very high on it. They're pretty low torque specs, so the least little bit in these gaskets you do not want to tear in it trying to put them back on. So now I'm just going to take this rag I have here. I'm going to take this pick. I'm actually going to work it down the track here. Going to work it all the way around this track, getting any kind of debris out of there, any trash that may be down in there. I'm going to take it and keep changing spots ever so often with it. Take it, put it down inside of that track there, and continue to clean it out all the way. This one doesn't look too terribly bad. I do got some oil in there though, and anytime you got oil and debris in there and then you got to put a new gasket on it, you're just asking for a leak. So the best bet is to go ahead and get every bit of that out as much as you can before you start putting your new stuff on. Last thing you want to do is be doing this twice. Okay, now I'll tape and wipe this edge. Now, typically, you're not really going to have much of anything. You're going to have a little glue here and here. And that's where your little spots in there, I told you before when we were looking at the earlier part of the video. Whenever I was looking at the earlier part of the video, I showed you where there's a crack on the top of that valve cover there. There's a split where it meets up right there. And right there's a potential leak, so you have to put a little bit of glue on each of those sections there. So you're going to have a little bit here that you need to scrape off. Get a scraper. Right. I'm going to take this here. I'm going to scrape this a little bit off right here. It's not very much. All right. Just make sure whenever you're scraping that off, that you're getting your pick and getting down inside of there and getting out whatever falls down in there. You don't want any of that debris left in there. Put that piece there, and I got that piece there. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pop up. You got 3 right here that's got to come up. All right, this goes around where your ignition coils come in. I'm just going to try to work this pick around the edges right here. See how well it comes loose. I was hoping they would just kind of pop right out of there. I believe I'll actually turn these over to this side right here. me see if I've got a, let's see here. I'm gonna get me a socket about the size of what that hole is there. Get a hammer about the size of it. Now be very careful. Remember, this is plastic. And I'm gonna hit here. I actually have brass beating sticks that I've knocked stuff like this out with, but the average person's not gonna have a brass stick sitting around in there. So most of you will have a socket laying around, but if you don't have a socket, get something that's big enough. It just fits on the inside of it right there. And see if you can knock it right out of there. Alright, we're going to repeat this process here. Alright, and then one more time. Okay. Alright, we have now knocked them loose. Each of those is in there a little better than what I initially thought they would be. I can tell you something I'm already kind of seeing as these coming out here. There's grit where that dust has got down in between the gasket. There's grit down in there from where that dust has gotten down in there, and that's not ever good on a seal. But for the most part, these actually feel pretty stiff. All three of these are pretty stiff, which kind of shocks me. This is a 2019. This is not that old of gaskets, and they've already set up pretty hard. All right. Now we're going to repeat the process here for your VVT solenoid gaskets. And actually, you'll see right in here, you can kind of see these are kind of oblong. This is where these were leaking to begin with. So you can tell where they were leaking by out there. They've kind of already set up to where you can tell that they was already leaking by some, and these are soaking wet up top with oil. So we'll repeat the same process with these. I'm gonna get a socket just like that. Now when you get a socket here, it's common sense for some, but I want to treat this as if this could be your first time ever doing something like this. So I just want to kind of break down the details. You can always skip ahead if you're a little more advanced and you don't need this kind of information, but I want to make sure for those who need it, I explain it. But whenever you get a socket, you don't want the socket to be on the outer edge right here. You want it to sit right on the inside of it, just like that, because you don't want to get off in here and break off one of these plastic pieces as you're trying to knock these out. I'm just going to kind of work this around. The seal here is actually flexing a little more than what I was expecting, but it come on out of there. All right, so grab these out here, and you can actually tell these are extremely hard. Like these barely they flex down a little bit, but these are, I'm surprised they're not cracking around the edges with as stiff as these are. I'm really surprised at how much these have set up. Now, same process. I'm going to clean it out. Get all that debris out from around it. Any dust and oil. Get it cleaned up there. All right. So now, see, and look here, you see it. Hold on, I'm gonna get an old one because I want to show you the difference. I want to show you the difference between the new and the old. Show you what I'm talking about. Maybe hard on the camera to see the oblong, But do you see the difference? Do you see how much bigger that one is? Was worked out? And how it's not returned to its old shape? That is crazy. Wow. So now I'm hoping these just press back into place here for the most part. Then I'm just going to work this hammer kind of around the edge. You can also, if you want, get something flat and lay across the top of it right here where you knock it in. Or you can kind of work around the edge. Don't smack it in one spot too much. Just kind of work it around in a circle like that. Alright. Just make sure it's flush with the top again whenever you're done. Go ahead. We'll see if maybe, possibly, ooh, that's perfect size. I'm actually going to take this, smack it a little bit. Alright. I'll lay it up here. Flush that off just how I want it to. Alright. Go ahead and take this other one. We'll do it the same way. Same process. Kind of ease it in. It doesn't take too awful much. I'm actually going to get a little mallet I have here. Work it around the edge. That is in. Those are ready to go. Just going to work. Alright. See? Not so bad. Pretty easy. You just got to take your time with it. A lot of times it's harder to get them out than it is back in. You just don't want to knock it too far. You just want to make sure it stays flush within the top right here. You don't want to knock it down where it's inset inside there, and you don't want it still sticking up any. It's made just to fit flush in there. All right. So now I'll go ahead and get this gasket right here. Little gasket going in right here that goes around the pump that sits on here. Now this one here is actually, it's got a hole all in it, which is perfectly normal. It's kind of shocking this one's not like the rest of them have been. This one still feels good. It still feels pretty soft. It still feels like it's got some movement to it. That's been the best feeling one so far. Same deal. Just gonna take my pick, poke my rag down in there in the track, and wipe all the way around and wipe that oil up that's in there. Get it all cleaned out. Alright. And now, take a little bit of that oil that I've got up inside the valve cover here, and I'm just going to wipe it around this edge here. Leave it up, get it in there. I'm just going to push it around. Like that. And you can tell there's a little bit, if you notice, there's a little bit of a groove up in the top here, and then the bottom has no groove. You want the bottom side with no groove to go down in there. Alright. We're going to put these seals in there. For the ignition coils. So popping them into place. And if you don't like the noise of me knocking it in there with the hammer, you can skip to the next part. I'm just giving you a warning that I'm about to hit on it with a hammer again. Alright. See this one here? See how it started crooked? You need to pull it up, start again. Don't try to just keep beating it to where you get it straight. You just pull it up and start over. Now's when you want, if you're going to get something to beat it with, you're going to want something that fits that outer edge. So I'm gonna get a bigger socket. This is a 1.25 inch socket. I kind of pick up on it a little bit as I'm hitting. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get this next one in. Set this to the side. I'll come back and put that back in here shortly. Alright. Pretty tight fits here. Alright. Flip that. Alright. So now, once they're set, you'll see that they come back and that little lip sits over the inside on each side right here. They're a little bit of a pain to get in. It's not that hard, it's just you just got to keep working it all the way around till you get it in consistently. Just keep hitting it and keep getting it in. It's not terrible. It can be a little bit of a pain trying to work around it, just keep hitting it, trying to get it to level out right. But eventually, it went on in there. You got to keep hitting it until you get it to go. Don't get aggravated with it, just keep going, it's fine. It'll work its way in there. But, now those are in. But, see, that's what you want though, is you want a good tight seal with them. You don't want it to be you don't want it to be loose or just to go in there. If it is, you got a problem. You want it to be tight sealing in there because you're going to have oil hitting right in the bottom of them and you don't want it coming past. Alright. So y'all watched me put this one in earlier. It just fell out in the midst of me putting the ignition coil seals back in. I'm going to pop that one back in there. And now, we are going to turn it over. I'm going to pop these off now. Where they hook into the top of the engine. I'm going to go ahead and pop these up same way. These are going to be in a little track on the inside. Don't worry about tearing up the gasket. Just kind of stab it through and pull them up. This spot here and this spot here, it's going to be the area. It's going to kind of guide you when you're looking at your gasket here on where it's going to go. It's going to go just like this. And then you just start working it around the edges, working it in. These are actually very simple. They're not bad at all. Alright. These up around here. Here. Okay, work this all the way around in there. Start from one side and work all the way around. Come back. Very, very simple. Now make sure to go back once you get it all in there. Go back because it's kind of hard to tell right here, but you can kind of tell it's kind of popped up some in there. So just make sure you got it pushed all down in there. Got everything sealed off real well. And right here, it's going to be a little harder to push in around these bolt holes. So, get them there. And that one is ready to go. Alright. So now, give us a few seconds. I'll get the next one set up and we'll do it the same way. So this is the driver's side. I'm not going to say much through this time. You just watch me go through one and do one. So we're going to kind of clip through this one and knock this one out right quick. This gasket's in. Don't even know why I'm talking to y'all, because y'all are just hearing music right now. I may play some music myself. Do 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 do. When going around all these, make sure you press that gasket down into place really well around where it goes around these bolts. It's bad about wanting to stay popped up, but it's got that groove right there. Make sure to push it down into place. It will set down in there. All right, there's that one. Only one left to do. Give me a second. Let me get you set up here. We'll change these last bit of gaskets out, and then we'll have the gaskets changed out. All right, let's go. Now, these are pretty easy. You just got 6 in the bottom side right here. Remember, these are the blue ones. The set that I've got as well, they're also blue. Let's get these pulled out of here. These actually feel like they're fairly new. They don't feel that old. These still feel really, really good. Still would have been probably perfectly fine with them, but I've already got new ones, so I'm replacing them out. All right, same as all the others. Clean them out of there. All right, now, and then these are very, very simple. You just pop these in. Doesn't matter which way they go. They're the same on both sides. The set that I have here anyways is. I'm just going to pop them in there, just like so. All right. And they've actually sent me an extra here. That's going to come in handy somewhere. Actually got one more piece to replace the gaskets in. It's the one that goes on the passenger side there where that pump goes down in there, that little plate that we pulled off earlier. Hold on, I'll get it. The plate that we pulled off there. You got to pull these 2 seals off on the inside of that, pull them out, and then you have these 2 seals here to replace out. So let's get these done right quick. These are going to be the same way. You can actually see, sure way you can see that, but you've got some spaces started opening up on the inside of there. So it's a good thing we're going ahead and replacing these out. These are pretty simple to pick out of there. All right, same thing. All right, put these inside of here. All right, and just like that, it's ready to go. All right, now, all right, so that's the last part to put together. Get the gaskets in now. All the gaskets are in, and we're ready to reassemble the truck. So give us a little bit. Let us get the camera set up and for you, and we'll start putting everything back together. All right, let's go, everybody. So, sorry, had to take a couple days in between right here. Had a few things to get done. As y'all see in other videos on the channel, there was we had a trip coming up, so we went ahead and took it in the meantime. But now back to the truck. I need to figure out the whole reason we pulled this apart to begin with is because it was giving that charging fault on the alternator. So I'm going to get down there. I've already looked down at the plug on top of the alternator, and it looks like there's been oil that's been dripping down in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it apart. I'm going to blow some air down in it, and then I'm going to take and blow some contact cleaner down inside of it. Make sure to clean all that oil out and plug everything back up. Then I'm going to reassemble everything, and hopefully that fixes my problem. So give me just a second. Let me finish getting everything set up, and then I'm going to get you on the camera down here right straight on it. All right, I believe I've got y'all set up where you can see the plug. The plug I'm after is actually, put my hand down in here, it's this one right here. So I'm gonna get this and broke loose here. Also too, I'm gonna check this, I'm gonna inspect this other one while I'm right here. Make sure it's not loose, anything up on, but everything looks good on it. I'm gonna blow it out as well while I'm here. So, see if I can kind of feel around on this plug and get a grasp on how it unlocks here. Ooh, there's oil all over this thing. But the good thing is the wires feel good. These trucks are pretty bad about these wires right here. These 3 wires on these plugs. They're pretty bad about shearing off the way Ford made them. So, really glad to see them all still intact right here. Let's see. Let's see. Can't really. Very limited movement here. Let's see what I got here. I'm trying to still, I know where I've got y'all set up is, you can see it pretty well. I can just barely see it right here where I'm located because these lines that run through. Oh, I can feel the tabs finally starting to move some. It's on the back here, not the side that you're facing right now on the front of it. It's on the back of the alternator. I can feel it starting to squeeze in now. There's not a ton of movement in here. All right, so you grab the back of this plug here, and it's very, very difficult to get to right here, as it's, if you still leave these pipes in, it's got bigger arms like I do. It's not the easiest to get around to the back side of it here, but it's squeezed in back here on the back. But you got to grab it, squeeze, and pull straight out, just like that. All right, now I'm not sure how well you can see it in the film, but there's oil all inside of this plug. So I'm hoping that's what was giving me the charging issues, because this plug's full of oil. Let me get some air and blow that out right quick, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm gonna take this plug, and I'm gonna blow some air into it. I'm actually just gonna use a duster can to blow off in there right now. I'm not grabbing the compressor and stuff out at the moment. You could. Most of the time, that's what I do, is just grab the compressor out and blow air down into it. But I just got to blow just a little bit here, so I don't see no sense in pulling all that, just to getting the hose and all out to just to blow a little bit down inside there. And getting that end down in there with all these hoses is going to be a pain. I'm just going to shoot this straw right through the lines right there and blow some air down inside of it and hopefully get that air out of it. I'm going to take, it's known as contact cleaner. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to make sure my lines are clear here, and I'm going to go back down in there. I'm going to hit the ends of them terminals with contact cleaner. I always do a pre-spray before you go under. Make sure your straw ain't going to blow off there like it did with me to begin with. I'm going to go ahead and apologize to the editor now for the amount of clips he's going to have to deal with here. Just know that we love you. Come down here in the bottom. That plug with contact cleaner. Now, don't just ever hold this stuff because it freezes. It's got compressed air in it, so it'll just freeze up. So you got to be careful. You got to use this in little bits at a time. You don't want to blow a ton down in there at one time. I'm gonna blow some down into this plug as well. Kind of set it up right here. You can see it. Hopefully we can see it some. Alright. Ah, well, close enough. Can't see that, I'm sorry. You've seen me try. Alright. Now, whew. See all that oil dripping out of the bottom of that? Oh, there was a lot down in there. I'm gonna give it a second, let it dry, let it warm up. I don't want to crack it and break it, but there's still oil dripping out of the bottom of that as I'm hitting it. That plug was slap full of oil. Alright. Hopefully that got it squared away there. So give that a minute, let that dry, and then I'm gonna plug that back in, then we're gonna go back to putting the valve cover back on. Give it just a second. You can grab it and feel like, oh, that contact cleaner, it is still cold. So we're gonna give it a little bit. We're gonna let everything kind of dry up. Take this here. Plug that back in, just like so. Now, let's get back to putting these valve covers back on. All right, so here's a fun thing about mechanicking. You never know what you're gonna run into. One thing I hate to see when I start tearing off into something is it looks like somebody's already been in there. Because that's typically when you're gonna run into a bunch of problems, is a lot of times you'll notice there's people that's not as interested in doing it as right as you would want to do it. So, as I was looking, I got to noticing on the top of the intake here, if you'll notice, each of these has a shaft that goes on the inside right here and then the bolt. Well, I got to noticing this one doesn't have one. I was like, I don't remember pulling a bolt out of that. I was like, that's not right. Anybody who knows anything about vehicles, your valve covers and your intake, you want to be torqued to spec. Even if you don't use a torque wrench for hardly anything else, most of the time you're going to use a torque wrench for this because you want it to be right. Well, notice there's no bolt here. So I was like, well, that's not good. So I get over here, start looking at my valve cover to figure out what's going on. And I notice, you can see right there. See right here, see how these are empty right here? The bolts go in. That one there is full. Somebody's broke the bolt off in it, and they just left it that way. So I'm not going to just leave it that way. It's not how you do things. Your best bet, I can give you any advice, is do it right the first time. You don't want to be back in here. You don't want to be back pulling run. Yes, a broken, and there's really no excuse for not fixing a broken bolt in it. It's not like you can say I didn't have the money to do it. Not bolts are cheap. It's not as most of the time the reason people don't want to fix it is because it's as you're about to see, because I'm going to take you through the process. It's not the easiest process to get them out, especially when it looks like that one's sitting there and corroded as long as it has. If somebody would have got it out as soon as they'd have broke it off in there, wouldn't have been near as bad. But now it looks like it's been corroded all around the inside of it. So I'm going to start, and don't know that I'm even going to. I may try to drill with a left-handed bit a little bit to start with, just to see if it'll come loose. I'm highly doubting it, not the way that looks. I'm going to kind of pick the crud around from the top right there, spray some screw loose down inside of it, let it sit for a little bit, try to hit it with a left-handed bit a little bit. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to go ahead and drill it and use the ease out and try to pull it out of there. All right, so let me take you through this process. So okay, well, you see it doesn't seem like that has any movement to it whatsoever. Absolutely none. So alright, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and drill it. It's gonna be the best route to get to it. It's gonna be the best bet. Get you moved around here some so I can get a drill to it. So I'm gonna start with a small pilot bit here. We'll take a center punch. We'll take a center punch here. I'm gonna go ahead and find what I think's the closest to center. Doesn't mean it is, it just means that it was what I think is closest to center. So, get it set here. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna smack it. That's close enough to me. So now, a little bit here. I'm gonna start by making a real small pilot hole. And guys, always remember, safety first. One thing I try not to play around with anymore is my eyes. That did not start out as straight as I would have liked it. I'm gonna try to drill it up just a little bit here to get it more up in the center. It's a little better, but more in the center you are, the easier it's going to be for you. Because you don't want it, you don't want to go all the way through it. Then you'll really be in a mess. You don't want to snap this bit off inside of the hole, or you're going to be in really bad shape. Because the difference between that bolt right there and this bit is this bit's hardened. And it's a lot harder to get out of there. Just take your time. Remember, with steel, it ain't about drilling fast. Real slow. If you're not seeing tails like this, it means you're drilling too fast. Just slow. Alright. I've got a decent hole down inside of there. I'm going to start with the knees out. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to go a little bit deeper on it. Okay. Now, blow that breeze out of my way. Alright. Got a pretty clean hole so far. I'm not quite as center as I would like to be. But we're going to see how it goes. Alright. So now, I'm going to get these out, and I'm going to try this ease out here. Let's see, I'm gonna knock it down in there. Get it started. See if it'll grab. See if this one will grab. See what happens here. Hole's not quite big enough for it to grab in, but I'm almost in the bottom of the threads too, so made my life a little harder on this than I had to, but I did it, so it is what it is. So I'm gonna bump up a bit size here. We're gonna drill a little bit more. That was enough. So now, so these out at, try again. That feels like I can get a little bit more of a grab on that. So we'll see if that'll pull, if that'll start backing out. Alright, see if that was enough. See guys, I know it can seem like I'm being real repetitive, going trying a little bit, and then go back drilling a little more, but you don't want to drill out more than you have to begin with. We're not in a race here, so best thing is just go slow about it and try to do it right the first time. Many mechanics over the years have figured out extracting a bolt can be one of the roughest things you do as a mechanic. So it's a victory once it's done. And you want to be careful with these out because you don't want to break these out off in there either. Oh, well, now that should be fun. See if we can even drill that. Well, that stinks. Not really sure why that grabbed all of a sudden, but it did. Which I'm going to tell you right now, that's one of the last things you want to happen. See if I can get a grab on it. Hopefully. Whew, praise God. See that right there? That could have been a disaster. But it wasn't. Thank you, Lord. Not real sure why that bit just decided it had enough. A lot of times it gets crud built up down in there and it decides it just don't want to work no more. So now it's about time for me to go up a size. And start drilling it on out. Just got to keep working at it like this until you get it. And every now and again, you don't know about where you stand on the length of your hole. You do not want to drill all the way through this thing. Okay, I'm not anywhere close at the moment. Alright, so no, that seemed like it went on through, but it didn't. What it did was it broke on through the bolt. Still kind of scare you a little bit when you ain't expecting it. But no, it did not go through. It just went on through the other side of the bolt. Alright, it's a good deal. Now, we've got that going there. It's a little off kilter, so I don't know that we'll ever be able to really extract it from that one. Kind of doubtful of it to begin with, just the way it's been in there for so long. It's always worth giving a try though. Like you always want to try, because you'll be amazed at how many times you go to do it and want to break loose with you. That one's not coming loose it all, so it's time to drill it again. And I just keep drilling up sizes until finally it breaks free and comes out. I mean, at this point, we've already about made it to a point to where we're gonna have to rethread it anyhow. Doesn't really matter at this point. You just want to make sure you don't drill it out too big to be able to thread it out. Actually, I'm gonna go right down the size from this one. 1364. Just gonna move it all. Oh, it's, yeah, and corroded up on there. It just is what it is. Find me a 3/16 right quick. I don't know whether this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try it. Figure out what these bolts are so I know what this needs to be drilled to. So this is going to be M6 1.0. If you don't have a set of thread checkers, I always suggest getting some. Huge help. Be a huge help in fiddling with something like this. Make sure I have an M6. I should. Oh, there's M5, M7, of course. I do have the M6. Locate them currently. Those are left-handed bits. When I found my tap handle, it already had the M6 inside of it. It was like it already knew I was going to be doing this today. See, it already knew. Alright, I'm going to try to start a little bit here and see what happens. Get this back under here. Thing with tapping is you always want to make sure you start out straight. It's the biggest part of it. Start out straight, you'll be good. Not, you have set yourself up for a mess. I do intend on using oil. I was just getting it started. Don't yell at me. You're probably still not going to be happy with me because I want to use screw loose instead of tap oil, but what you want to do, you'll notice as I'm going, I'll go forward a little bit and then I'll back off. Go forward a little bit and then I'll back off. What I'm doing is I'm clearing my threads. That debris, see how it catches up on the tap there? That debris gets down in there and it'll lock it up with you, and you'll end up breaking your tap. When if you had just backed off a little bit, you would have cleared your threads. You could have kept going. And when it's closed like this, I take it and open it ever so often. Spray some oil down in there. Spray some oil on into my tap. And start again. We are almost there. I'm gonna take this and blow a little bit of that stuff out of there. Blocky. Clear my way. Clear my threads again. You know what, I think I need to go up just a little bit more on my drill size. It starts out, the tap starts well, but as it gets on down in there, it gets to a point to where it's wanting to grab up. And so I just want to make sure that it's all clear. Tapping down into something that's got a bottom in it and it can't come out, you really want to make sure you're not putting a ton of pressure on the bottom of it right there. Because it's so you can get down inside there and you snap that tap off, you are in a mess. But just take your time with it. There's no sense in getting in a hurry. There we go. Feel like I finally got that little bit of a breakup done in there. Just make sure you're going slow and you keep backing off and clearing your threads. We are almost done here, guys. Being slow with it, easing in and out of there. I actually take some screw loose every now and again. I spray down in there. You can get you some tap oil if you want to. I do recommend it, actually. I mean, it is better, but I like using screw loose. Mainly because it's just what I got right here. Alright, I think I am finally through. Alright. So you could kind of see why someone would just leave it and move on. I guess, you know, it's a pain, it takes time, it's not the easiest, thing does go wrong. I'm gonna have my editors here. I want them to leave in where the bit broke and the extractor broke. Guys, I want to make real footage. I don't want fake footage where you think I'm just some professional who never makes a mistake. And no, it happens. It's with all of us, you know, especially when you're doing stuff like this. You're gonna have extractors break, you're gonna have bolts break, you're gonna have bits break. Now, if you're one of those that you have a bolt break, don't do what the last mechanic whoever it was that fooled this truck before me, don't do what they did and just leave it. Fix it, do it right, and put it back together. So now I also, because of the missing sleeve in that intake, I gotta get another sleeve and a bolt. And one thing I do want to clean up right quick is there's a little bit of a burr right there. There we go. Now that's gone. All right. And we now have a bolt hole. I'm gonna blow all that out. Alright, I'm gonna blow this off the top here. Kind of wanted to do this as well with just the electronic duster to show you that you can do this with it. I actually have, in counting, in this shop, I have a compressor back there, a small one, a compressor under there, and I have a big, I have my main compressor right there, the big one. So I have plenty of compressors, but what I've come to notice is a lot of people that watches this and does this, they think they got to have a full-blown shop to be able to do any of their own work. You don't. You can do it with a can of air and some screw loose. I mean, that's why, you know, if you remember toward the first part of this project, I didn't use my big pry bars and all that stuff that I have, and a lot of tools, specialty tools that I have to do stuff, because most of you's not going to have that. There's no sense in you trying to pull it out or trying to go get that to do it. You don't have to have that to do it. There's other ways. It's just a little harder and it takes a little more time. So now that that's fixed, Let's get everything set back up. Let's get everything straight, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start putting these valve covers back on. And then I'm going to have to get another sleeve and a bolt for this intake before I put it back on. And then we're going to reassemble everything back to the point of the intake. And then let me get that sleeve and that bolt, and then we'll put that back together. But all right, give us a minute and we'll get you set up. All right,